Hello and welcome back to the Fullerton College Pre-Press class. This is the third and very hopefully final video of our talk on PIA's Pre-Press Training Handbook 6.4 Advanced Proofing. We are picking up our conversation, my diatribe monologue that you are stuck listening to because we're not in person, about soft proofing. Now, color accurate soft proofing is possible. However unlikely that they'll find a weakness. Wait, no, I'm back to Star Wars. It is possible, but a little bit difficult to make happen. Here's what you need. You need a CPU, a computer processing, central processing unit, you need a computer, and an LCD display. Older CRTs are pretty rare now, but they do still exist, and they are not up for this kind of job. They are good for online gaming because the refresh rate on those is a lot faster than even modern LCDs. Anyway, sorry, back to actual printing. LCDs are much more color accurate. You'll need software for soft proofing. You will need a spectrophotometer. Man, I love that word. And you'll need an internet connection. So the CPU and the LCD, you need a computer. That's what CPU and LCD means. LCDs are brighter than CRTs. They don't flicker. And they can stay calibrated longer. Typically, CRT is more or less gone now. You have to kind of hunt to find one if you really want one. So LCD is basically what all computers are anyways nowadays. Now, it's important to understand that they have lifespans. They don't last forever, depending on how long they are turned on. That's also why you have screensavers and why it's good to shut down your computers. Shut them down when you're not using them. Their brightness is measured in candles per meter squared, CDM squared, and this measures the light radiating from it. So new displays are about 240 CDM squared, and it drops down over time. As it burns less bright, even though it's LCD LED lit. A new good Apple Cinema display rates at the 240, but once it drops below 150, then it has a problem. Remember that Nyquist theorem about resizing images? It also works for transmitting radio signals over background noise. It also works for how bright a computer monitor needs to be for you to see the colors accurately despite the background lighting in the room you're viewing it in. It needs to be strong enough to overpower those horrible, dingy, yellow, awful fluorescent lights in your office building. It needs to be more powerful than whatever lighting the person is looking at in their room. Hopefully they don't have an open window behind them with sunlight coming in. The sun is the arch enemy of the graphic designer. Did you know? Anyways, once it starts to get older and dimmer, it can no longer overcome that background clutter of light pollution. Also understand that warm-up time is necessary. Sometimes you need to turn off the energy saver and let it turn on and be on for a while before it's at full power. If you calibrate it while it's still warming up, you're gonna not have it all the way correct. If any of you play music, or any of you are musicians out there, you might know that you need to warm up your instrument before you tune it. You don't tune, I was a brass player, so of course I'm going there. You don't tune a trombone straight out of the case early in the morning. It's going to be cold. It's going to play extra flat until you warm it up enough by playing it a little bit to get it warm enough to resonate at the correct sounds. Likewise, you need to warm up your monitors before you try to calibrate their colors. You can't get them, if you calibrate them while they're still warming, they're going to look different because you will be not correcting. It's like putting braces on a kid's teeth before they lose their baby teeth. Great, you've made their baby teeth straight and then they all fall out and their new teeth come in later. How is that going to work? Then you have to start all over again. So let it warm up the whole way before you test it. You need software, soft proofing software as well. The client side, it needs to be easy to use. If this is difficult to use, you've lost the key advantage of soft proofing, haven't you? They need to be able to do it without understanding color management. You need to be able to handle the hard stuff for them, and the system needs to be so easy that anyone who has no idea what they're doing can still use it. File streaming is important. File streaming, kind of like streaming your videos on Netflix, means you don't have to download the whole thing. It means that you'll be sending the information across the internet from your computer to theirs, and theirs doesn't have to process the whole thing to show it. This reduces bandwidth, and it only needs to show the whole thing. It doesn't need to show even full resolution for printing, just enough pixel information to fill the screen. Okay, now you start to get to some more specialized stuff, and you need a spectrophotometer or colorimeter. Not as fun to say. I like spectrophotometer better. Spectrophotometer. You need that spectral on the other side to make sure the monitor is calibrated correctly. So typically you use one of these to calibrate the monitor. It's required every day you want to proof. So you hang it on the monitor and you turn it on and it will flash a series of colors with known values at the spectrophotometer, and the proofing and calibration software will see those colors and say, I know that was supposed to be red, but it doesn't look very red to me. What changes do I need to make in what I'm showing for that to be accurate? You also then need an internet connection. It needs to be a good one. I know DSL is outdated these days, but it needs to be a fiber optic or a good high-speed internet connection. You laugh, but some of the stuff does still exist. If someone's still using dial-up, this is going to be a problem. So here's how it works for color accurate remote soft proofing. They log in from their side, they select the proof they want to see, they calibrate the display, then they look at it, and they can mark it up and type notes and say, this is good, this is bad, this is ugly. Clint Eastwood. Anyways. Viewing standards, here they are. Here's the ISOs. They're in your book. They're on the slide. Feel free to pause and look these up if you really want to. And these also describe a room that's going to be a dim room that's not too bright, painted with boring, distracting gray walls with no distracting items near the display. A lot of people at a lot of places have like special personalized things on their desks. This is one of those things where you really want a special proofing display area. We'll go into pictures on that. So the ideal viewing environment has controlled lighting. It's not a very bright room. It's not a very dark room. It's somewhere in the middle. At color management offices I've been to at places like the Getty, they have a nice dimly lit gray room for their color proofing and their color management for all their collections and their recordings of things. And it's a neutral, very boring room that does very exciting work. You don't have all those extra trinkets and pieces of flair on your desk because those are going to distract you and make you compare that picture of your friends or your family on the table next to you. The colors in that photo are going to they're going to affect how your eyes see the color of the proof. Monitor hoods, like on this picture here, there's a little hood around the monitor that helps reduce glare. Also, you want to make sure that the room is boring and gray and neutral and not cast to a color. Fun colored walls, bright colors, and things painted in the room are going to affect how the person sees stuff. And this is one of the reasons, and also the light in the room wants to be 5,000 Kelvin, which is a good neutral daylight range of colors. And an uncluttered desk with no distracting items. This is a very difficult thing to do, and this is one of the reasons I don't really like soft proofing remotely, because you are trusting that your client has a neat, clean desk that's painted neutral gray without distraction. Because there's all sorts of things that could be affecting how they see what they're seeing, and things could actually be perfectly fine and they would see it wrong, or worse, things could be wrong and they could see it perfectly fine, which will then be a problem when they see the finished one after they signed off on it. So again, why I'm hesitant on soft proofing. Again, that's personal. According to the PIA, it's perfectly acceptable. Many big businesses do this. I just don't like it for color accuracy. I think you need to see it on the correct substrate in good lighting to really understand it, because there are too many variables and I don't like extra variables. I like to test one variable at a time because I like science. Angle of view is an issue. I have little fun side stories on this one too, because it changes how you see the color on an LCD screen. Again, as I've already established, I've had some decently good bosses, some very good, very, very good bosses in my days. And I still had some issues is the wrong way. Argument, I mean in the debate sense. I still had some problems with them not understanding what I was doing from time to time. Or I would have him walk in and say, Ben, what are you doing? What's going on with those colors? And I would say, hey, come over here. Hey, crouch down to my level, down to where I'm sitting. And go, oh, it looks fine. Yes. Because oftentimes the angle you view a monitor can change the colors. If you're at an extreme enough angle, the colors almost look inverted. They look completely wrong. Otherwise, they look sort of wrong. Anyways, the angle you look at your monitor at actually affects how the monitor looks to you. You can also soft proof in the press room. Sometimes you can compare your printed finals to the soft proof in a color managed gray booth. You can have multiple displays mounted on racks to display the different imposed forms. You have a series of computer monitors all set up in a nice gray booth near your big press so that the press team can look at those soft proofs and compare at least visually compare their final to those soft proofs. Anyways, that's it on proofing. Understand that proofing will be a large part of your job if you choose to pursue pre-press for its own sake. Anyways, thanks for listening to my ramblings. I hope this was helpful. Again, this was Professor Ben Hewitt, and stay tuned for next time. Bye.